Hey, how you doing, everybody? I'm Christopher Daniels here with the Article 3, 321 reflection for the article Distributing Leadership for a Critical Consciousness by Mr. Kenneth Bond and Daniel Tolano. So, the purpose of this assignment is you take it's called a 321 reflection. So, what you would do, you would take three things that you have learned from the current article that we're currently reading. You take two things you would like to implement in your current lesson plan, the teaching theories, and also you take one adjustment that you would consider. So as I was saying, that's the article title is the Distributed Leadership for the Critical Consciousness. So with my reflection, the three things that I did pick up that I did learn when it comes from this, and number one is it was a pretty good read. Really didn't think of it. With being from the South, I did kind of see a lot of this stuff being mostly mirrored when it did come to the educational program that's in South Georgia. So with the first thing that I did learn was the critical consciousness requires both reflection and action. So with the critical consciousness, isn't merely about just awareness and understanding inequality. You have to be more than just aware. You have to be. You can reflect on it, but what is your actions on? What are you going to do towards it? It demands it demands action. It demands action. So you have to be able to put forth the energy to be able to, if you want to change it, if you see it happening, you have to be able to change it. And the second thing I got on that one is the educational leadership must move beyond recognizing systemic issues like racism and classism to actively disrupt these patterns. That is my first thing that I really, really picked out because when I was growing up, we seen it. You see it, you see it, you see it, you see it, you see it. You reflect on it, you let reflect on it, and then you want to be able to do something, but there's no action taken. So you see racism, you see classism, you pretty much see it all, but you don't see the action. What steps are we taking towards correcting, or what steps are we taking towards fixing? You don't really want to just band-aid everything. So most likely all I seen pretty much growing up was a lot of band-aiding when it did come to the fact that you still had classism or racism in the educational system. And that's pretty much a kind of touchy subject for me. So that's one of the really big things that I really did step out and see. And I really pointed out while reading this article. So my number two was the distributed leadership expands beyond formal authority. I kind of really like this one because this is currently what I currently do now. Let me give you the example, my explanations for leadership isn't confined to administrators or those with the formal titles. The distributed leadership perspective recognizes that the leadership energy flows through interactions among all stakeholders. That means your students, your families, the communities, the staff, even all the way down to the custodial staff. When it comes to leadership, it can't just be the principal in there, learning. You have to be able to surround yourself with the body of people that all has a common goal. And what I mean by a common goal is that if we want to give our common goal this year for our school system is 100% heart, 100% student, 100% general. And what that really means is when we going from the leadership, it don't just stop at the principal. It comes down from the principals all to the students, making sure they lead each other. Because when it comes down to it, most students will listen to their peers before they listen to any form of authority. And with that being said, the teachers must also step up. We give 100%. And then even the custodial staff, you give 100%. It doesn't matter any informal authority. You have to be able to give it your all. If we want to be able to reach the goals that we say and stay off the state list or any of the GMAS and keep pushing, we got to be able to have leadership not in just one place. It has to come from those informal titles. No, not for the form that's not a real formal title. The custodials can be leadership when it comes to just remembering to do the right things or just remind the students, hey, that's not a good thing to be doing. That's not a good thing to be doing, or don't hang around these kids. Not necessarily saying bad kids, but to be able to have the leadership to point somebody in the right direction. You don't know the impact that you can make on such a small level. Well, being that it may be a small level to a lot of people, it's really not a small level to somebody who just want to be heard, especially when it comes to the students. That's pretty much all they're gonna go. But once you get the leadership impactful, that it comes from the levels from the top all the way to the bottom. That's how you get 100% school that's going towards 100% goal. So that's my second thing that I really pointed out. My third thing that I noticed that I learned that was the policy spaces. Policy spaces provide strategic energy entry points. The concept of implications and the ideological spaces offer practical strategies for advancing equality initiatives. Leaders can navigate politically charged environments by working within policy ambiguities while maintaining core values. You can get the job done while still maintaining all your core values. That's pretty much what it is. We have certain policies that we have to follow. We understand there are certain concepts when it comes to implementing this, or when it comes down ethically, you can still remain within the policies and get the job done. I 100% believe that. When it comes to being a leader, you gotta have the correct mindset. You must go, not necessarily don't be a leader that want to bend the rules and break the rules. No, you have to be that leader that say, we're going to abide by the rules and this is how we're going to do it. It still can be done, even though you think the rules may be straight or maybe this or that. It can be done. It can 100% be done. You might have the environment or my environment caused me to do this or be unethical about this. No, it can be done. It 100% can be done. So those are the three things that I did learn. I normally will ramble on a lot by these, but I pretty much want to be straight to the point with this one. On my last video, I did give a tremendous amount of information, and yeah, just some bitch. I guess it's just the teacher in us. All right, so let's go to the two things that I would implement. So the youth action research projects, which is create a student-led research opportunity where middle schoolers investigate equality issues relevant to their communities. This is big, real big, and we do have this thing called once again to our school theme this year is 100%. So we got 100% community outreach. And that looks like this position of student is known to acknowledge producers rather than passive recipients, developing their critical consciousness while generating actionable data for school improvement. We have to make the students own their education. We're pretty much bought onto it. When we only get them from that short amount of 8 periods out of the 24 hours of that day. When they go home, who is currently still the leaders in the community? And if we get this going, that the students wants to be leaders in their communities. So now we have the leadership, like I said, those informal titles, and now it's balanced. Not just we have the leadership at home. We see how it's ran in the school system. We see it's top down. We see that everybody's still ethical. Everybody's having fun. We still learning. We still doing everything we're supposed to do. We stand within our policy. We got school policy that we still follow. Everything can still be ran right. It don't have to be, or everything gonna be strict, so it's gonna be boring. No, education is meant to be fun. It's meant to be fulfillment. It's like, I love education. So the fact that we have the youth, the outreach research projects that lets the students own their education, to the fact that we want to be able to send those students in the community and be like, our school is doing this, our school is doing that. You should come by and see our work that we're doing. We should come by and see our projects that we're doing. We have a curriculum night coming up. And then we have a curriculum night come up. Come see what we're doing. And that's how we end up feeding the parents. And we get the community, we get the parents in, we get the board members to come in. It's not just about us and our students, it's about us, our students, our community, like all our stakeholders. We have to be able to understand the true meaning of it when it comes to the community, when it comes to community education driven. This is how you keep a lot of boredom, or the ones that fall by the wayside, the ones who want to be able to drop out, the ones who want to. This is simple thing. Even I know it's middle school when you don't really think about nobody's gonna drop out. No, those mindsets start in middle school. That's when they get the most impactful change, and that's when everything starts to shift right around 6th or 7th grade. So don't think they just got to high school now. They don't want to do this. They don't want to believe in education. No, that starts in middle school. So that's one of the second things I would like to implement. The first thing. My number 2, collective identification through shared text studies. And this looks like to implement a one book or one classroom initiative focused on the autobiographies and narratives from marginalized voices. Through structured discussions and community circles, students will develop shared languages and understanding around equality issues. Right now it is Ethnicity Heritage Month. So we had we had a lot of our students, not only our Hispanic students, we had a lot of our students from African American students, our foreign students, and they all shared in this cultural thing called Ava. Like our school is one of many. We have all different races at our school. So if we identify as just students, and then we want to be able to share our cultures and share our texts and share our studies with each other, like I said, that's when that community come back in. If we want to be able to do that, we want to implement the one book, one class initiative. So, and what that looks like is, I want to hear about these certain students, that where you came from, how you come from, how you get to this community, what is your role in this community, is your leadership for this, like how your leadership role and your ethics play along into this community that helps, complete our 100% general. So with those community circles, we have representations from pretty much all over the world when it comes to, just sharing, learning Spanish, or just learning French, or we learning patois, we learning anything when it comes to just our school. Our school is not just, it's a melting pot, but it's a melting pot that we don't have to all be. What's the good thing about it is that we're different. That's actually the good thing, because we're different. But we all came from all walks of the world, and we all have something to share. We all have a way to benefit our community. And then that's my 3, and that's my 2. And my one thing one adjustment that I would consider is transforming lesson plans to embed critical social analysts, and fundamentally reconstructing unit planning by embedding critical social analysis and core learning objectives rather than treating them as a supplemental content. That's a big one. Let me finish real quick and begin each unit by asking, what are our statistical structure? What are our power dynamics? What is our historical text shape that end up shaping this content? Whose voice is being centered or marginalized when it comes to giving out this information? I teach science, so what it do comes from a lot of videos that we have or things that we have. A lot of those voices that got centered or marginalized are very, very, very old. So we try to be able to take what content did they have at that time? Can we place our minds there when it comes to how am I going to be able to teach this? Because the information that we have now, the information that they had then, I must teach to the students that we have now. The culture of the students that we have now, as we all can tell, is completely different. And what I mean by completely different is the fact that they don't learn, or they don't really care too much about Sir Isaac Newton, or they don't too much care about what they did then, or what is daylight saving time, or what's a Waxman Gibbons and what's a Wayne and Gibbons. So you have to take that in context of, I'm a lesson plan. I got to be able to teach these kids Newton 3 laws. How am I going to be able to do that? Because I understand that they don't want to learn it. They so I know it. So you be able to take that and relate it to the simple things that they find interesting in today's world when it comes to, let's say we're teaching law of inertia. The law of inertia, anything's in motion want to stay in motion, anything at rest want to stay at rest, and to act upon about a unbalanced force. You got to understand that, be able to say to them that I take a chair, sit a kid down. I said, you don't want to do any work today, right? Yeah. So I'm not going to make you do any work today. Yeah. So you have a whole bunch of inertia right now. Yeah. You want to sit still, you want to be, what progression? You're not making any progress, correct? Yes. Okay, cool. So what we need to do first, I'm going to be your unbalanced force. I'm going to be your teacher. I'm going to push you in the right direction. You picked up a little bit of speed. Okay. Now what you have? You have force. That's a vocabulary word. Let's keep it going a little further. So I push and I let go. And I asked the class, what's happening? They said, oh, he stopped. So now I got to figure out, so why did he stop? Say, oh, because he's no longer at rest. But if we didn't have what we call, as what's going in the opposite way, it's called friction. These are also vocabulary words that they currently already know. It's just me able to take those vocabulary words and put them into action when it comes to lesson planning. Because I got to be able to think. If I could just give you the vocabulary words, you got them. But if I don't take a Frere model, make you explain it, write a definition for it, draw it, what it look like, what it feel like, how that look in the real world, you won't be able to lock in on the information and keep and hone in on the information and keep it. So you take the information, you put it in action. So I pushed them, let it go on a rolling chase, stop. We just explained them the first law, second law, and third law. And they say, no, we didn't run it. I don't understand this. Cool, so let me stop and break it down for you. Anything at rest remain at rest as I push it. That's the law of inertia. The unbalanced force is me. Because I'm applying what? I'm doing second law, which is force equals mass times acceleration. I'm applying force. And the mass is the kid in the air, and acceleration is the speed of what we're going in. That's doing second law. They say, oh, okay, I see it. You can see the wheels turning. I was like, cool. While you got them, go ahead and throw in the third law, which is action reaction. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So I pushed him. What's the reaction? He moved. So currently we got force going this way. It got friction going this way. The kid is sliding this way. But some particular reason he stopped. And that's when gravity falls in. So I don't necessarily teach it that fast in the classroom. But while you have that attention span of those students to be able to grab them that quick, you have to keep it. And that's why I believe, science is one of these best subjects that I think. So let me continue going on with, I had a few things when it comes to things I want to implement in my lesson plan coming from this reading. Second thing is to implement implication of details. Each unit will include one critical question examining the systems of power, primary sources of marginalized voices, data analysis revealing the inequalities in a culminating project where students pose an actionable response. That's pretty much everything I just explained to you. It's just about that. If I get the information, I have the information, I taught the information, how do they implement the information so I can show that we all understand on the same page? Assessments would evaluate not just justify the content mastery, but students' ability to critical analyze social structures and to be able to articulate their potential interventions. So what that looks like in the fact that when they get to the assessment, that our kids have to be able to, they can articulate what they mean. So, and that moves a little bit past when it goes to content mastery. When it goes past content mastery, the student's ability to critically, I'm doing a video for class, please. What? I'm doing a video for class. Where are the birth certificates? Just give me a second. So the benefits and the impact when it comes to the benefits and impact is, I'm sorry about that. The benefits and impact when it comes to the lesson planning, application, everything that I want to be able to change is the adjustment will benefit all students by developing critical thinking skills while building empathy, and I must be able to build autonomy in these kids. I want them to be able to think for themselves. I want to see the critical thinking. I want to be able to process. I have to get them from everybody being asked a DOK 1, DOK 2 question, which is depth of knowledge that we already know. We have to get away from what's this response, how you do this response. I want to be able to, can you model Newton's first, second, and third law while being able to articulate the vocabulary words needed to be able to explain this thing that I've given to you, explain it back to me. Act like I don't know nothing at all when it comes to this. So to the marginalized students, this validates the experiences for the privileged students. This disrupts the assumptions and build awareness of systemic advantages. I want to be able to get these kids to all the advantages that I had and my teachers that instilled in me. I don't want them to be able to lack anything to be able to explain themselves, or the lack of not knowing the content when it comes to with doing check for understanding for mastery. So my last thing, my key takeaways that I did get from this article is every choice, either reinforce or challenges, is going to be an existing power structure that comes for that. And by making critical consciousness central rather than peripheral view, we prepare students not just for academic success, but active citizenship and creating more than just communities. So if you get the students all on the same page and we're starting to reach towards not just letting curriculum be just a peripheral view, we're trying to teach this. And no, if you take that and make that centralized and make the community centralized, together we'll build those same communities all over. And then the whole world will once again be educational driven. That's pretty much how we got here today. Whether it comes to science, when it comes to language arts, when it comes to paintings, when it comes to arithmetic, it comes to anything that we just got to remain, especially in the United States, we need to remain hungry for education. Because we're getting passed up by tremendous amount of other countries. And if we just understood what they're trying to do and understand what we're trying to do, together, we could build an education in the community. As you can tell, I enjoyed this reading, and they did a pretty good job. That's my video. That's my 3, 2, 1.